People of Reddit, what was your I'm so fired moment? Every time I mistype my password and fail login, half of me is like, oh shit, they reviewed my web history. In an instant message application, talking trash about my supervisor, only to realize it was my supervisor I was pinging. Ran into a very large and apparently very expensive loading dock door with a forklift when I was about 19. When I backed down you could still see the imprint of the lift in the door, like a sad cartoon. I guess I was okay, since I had no license, even no driving license, never had any, and my boss knew it. I was just a regular noob in a factory, who was told to do something and followed orders. Driving a forklift is apparently harder in real life than in video game. I was working from home, and was on a Skype meeting with a manager and the client. All of a sudden my cat jumps on the PC keyboard, so I yell get out of here, after which I check if the mic was muted. It wasn't. I was being trained as a warehouse manager. My supervisors used to check the bi-weekly shipping order once I was done compiling it, but for the most part, I was in charge of everything we'd be receiving. The problem was that I never wanted things to be sold out. Since I also worked with the customers on the main floor, I had to deal with people that were constantly angry about X product being sold out, and why that was unacceptable. Another problem was that I never knew how business would be. Some months would be so busy that the warehouse would end up empty, and some other times the warehouse was still decently full. My mistake was that I kept ordering stuff, even if there was a decent amount of product left. Eventually, the warehouse got full to the point where people could hardly get in and out. It stayed like that for a month or two before the products started to expire. All we could do once that started to happen was throw out the products or ship it back to headquarters and write it off as a loss. In the end, my mistake resulted in thousands of dollars of loss. I was scared about what would happen, but I wasn't even yelled at. My head supervisor said it was a mistake and that growing pains were expected during my training as a warehouse manager. To this day I'm still surprised that he reacted this way. The main reason for that being that I eventually found out that he was lying to me about a raise/promotion that never came, and that he was also doing the same to other workers at this job. Maybe my second week as an apprentice plumber, helping my trainer move a very expensive tub. He's got one end and I've got the other. I'm walking backwards with it and trip over some scrap. 2x4 are left sitting on the floor. The box hits the floor and we hear the porcelain chatter. I've already got the 1,000-yard stare, and I'm just saying fuck 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 in my head. My trainer opens the box, looks at the two halves of the expensive tub, and says, I can't believe those fuckers sent us a broken tub. I'll call the boss. You clean up and take lunch. I was a substitute teacher, and this bully, I'll explain why he's a bully later, decided to enter my classroom, where he wasn't supposed to be. I told him to leave, but he refused. After a bit of a discussion, I decided that enough was enough, picked him up, and basically threw him out the door. We have very strict rules in my country about teachers not being allowed to physically touch students. He was one of those 2 meters tall 10th graders, where the brain hasn't caught up with the body. It was kind of funny hearing the other tough guys in that class whispering amongst themselves, oh man, we do not want to fuck with this sub. After the rest of the class had finished their test, I dismissed them and immediately went to the principal's office. Told him that he'd probably get an angry call from some parents that afternoon. I fully expected that this would be the last day that I'd work at that school, but it turns out the guy had a history with violence. Had beaten a kid up bad enough that he needed to go to the hospital. In addition, he'd been busted doing drugs, so he had to go to the police every few days/week. I don't know the exact number here to give urine samples. Granted, his parents were extremely entitled, and their precious angel would never hurt a fly. The principal told me later that he did get a call, and I'm in no way directly quoting him here, but he told the parents to basically go fuck themselves. Still work there 3 years later. That concludes episode 3 of What Was Your I'm So Fired Moment, part 3. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click on some more videos and sub for daily uploads.